Hey Mark, I decided to do a little screencast to show you how to process your data. First of all, this is your data. It looks really great. I think we can make a killer segmentation out of it. I will try to convert it into the format. So this is your nuclear signal, I suppose, channel 1. And then I suppose that this is your CD45 signal. I think we can get a killer segmentation out of it, and I will show how to do it. But first we'll have to convert it into the format that can be eaten by Codex software. And Codex software does three-dimensional segmentation. It needs several z-planes, and we usually have multi-frame file. I'll show an example in a sec. And but we will try to convert it into a multi-channel, single-frame, multi-z file, sort of artificially trying to cheat the Codex software. So first of all, I just want to show our regular data that we have for Codex. Again, it's a multi-dimensional image with many channels. It has about 15 or so z-planes, many frames, and 4 channels. So if I were to convert it into a stack, right? Let's see. Sorry, image, hyperstack to stack. So, and this is just the segmentation outlines. Remove them, overlay, remove overlay. So what we will see is that for every z-plane, it collects 4 channels, right? And then so it goes 4 channels, then for one z, 4 channels for another z, this way for 15 z's, and then the same for the next frame. So to convert your file into the same format, I will press Shift-C and I will reset each histogram to its maximum, right? Okay, here's CD45, Shift-C, I'm resetting the histogram so that Shift-C during conversion, everything is done properly. Reset, and it's probably a peculiarity of ImageJ software, but what can we do? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now CD45 looks, Jesus, looks crappy again. Reset. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good now. I think what happens is that it cannot apply individual resets into whole stack. So I will scale it to the CD45 signal, which is the most proper way to do it. All right. So what I will do now is I will image type 16-bit. That's weird. That is weird. Okay, Shift-C. Oh, that's good. That's good. Now everything is fine. Oh yeah, everything is good now. So your CD45 looks good. It is not overexposed. Very good. So let's just repeat the whole thing, and I will go very fast. We'll go image, stack. Where is it? Tools, stack splitter. Split into 2. Perfect. We will stack 001, stack 002. Sounds good. We will triplicate them to create stacks with 3 z-planes. We'll duplicate this image, duplicate, image, stack, tools, concatenate, stack 001, stack 001, stack 001. We don't need to keep original image. We actually know that it will work. Very good. We'll do the same for stack 2, image, duplicate, image, stack, tools, concatenate, like this. Now we will assign properly the specs of the stacks, and again we want to have 1 frame, 3 Z's, and 4 channels. Okay, here, image, properties, 4 channels, 3 Z's, 1 frame, all good. We'll call it image, rename part 1, we'll call it image, rename part 2, and we will image, stacks, tools, concatenate part 1 to part 2, and that will create a, we'll have to kind of fix a little bit. We'll have 2 frames, 3 Z's. And that effectively creates a stack with your nuclear channel, frame 1, channel 1, and your CD45 is in frame 1, channel 4. That looks great. Okay, now we will save it as file. We'll actually overwrite the old stuff. TIFF, mark data, converted for codec software. Okay, so let's look at your nuclear data. And again, it looks actually pretty spectacular. I think it would work even without any additional processing. We could try it later, but let's look at the values. So your average signal here is what is like. Look here in the lower part of the image shape bar. The average signal here is 818. It's about, what is it? 6,000 for 6,000, 4,000, 5,000 for the positive, and 300 for the negative, right? And actually, you can see the bimodal distribution where your first peak corresponds to the basically to a background. So we have about 4,000 to 5,000, or maybe 4,000 average for the positive signal of the nuclei. Let's look at your CD45 signal. CD45 signal, you have 38,000 in the membrane. So in order to subtract, what we need to do is need to kind of equalize them a little bit during subtraction. So we need to take your 4,000 and convert to maybe 50,000, maybe multiply 10 times, and then subtract the membrane signal, right? And that will give you a final nuclear signal in the range of, I don't know, maybe 20,000 or so. We can do a couple of trials. So, ready, first of all, I want to go to the desktop and delete ForMark. The file which had a wrong name, a typo in the name. Okay, sounds good. So let's go. I will close this file, so it doesn't have to be double opened by, well, actually, we can probably keep it open. Now let's close it. Alrighty, so what I will do now is I will go to the software that I sent you. Double-click launch. It will offer you to select the folder that you want to process. Let's go to the desktop. ForMark. It will process all the TIFF files in this folder, so it can be like a huge data set. And we'll overwrite the original files with the files that we process. So we'll select the same directory for the result directory. Your nuclear channel is frame 1, channel 1, and we will multiply it. So 5,000, let's multiply it for maybe 4,000. We'll need to bring it to maybe 40,000. Let's multiply it 10 times. And that's our initial try. Remembering cycle is frame 1, channel 4, and we'll only multiply it once. Keep div multiplier 1,000. It's just, it will take me long to explain. Don't change this parameter. Sum scaling boolean, keep it false. It's basically how do you scale the resultant data when you do your sum operations. It could, your 16-bit data has a range from 0 to 65,000. If in the process of your operation you're getting 100,000, you basically want to know whether you want to rescale the data or not to rescale. I prefer not to rescale for various reasons. We will not be doing any square root transformation. If a nuclear signal looks great, and cross dataset multiplier, keep it at 1. Alrighty. Done. So let's look at the result. Desktop for Mark. So it created a text file where it has written down the settings for this transformation so that you will remember it. And let's look at this data. Sorry. You will see it created a third frame, right? That's how your nuclear signal looks now. You can see that. So it actually has two kinds of transformation. It did both sum in the first two channels, right? And division in the third and fourth. Division gives you much sharper centers of the nuclei, but it doesn't do the outlines properly. Sorry, I will display it in a grayscale. All right, so that's it really pinpoints the centers very well, especially if I kind of decrease the intensity here by thresholding the histogram. But it doesn't do the outlines properly. You want something like this. So if I compare it to original nuclear signal, so that's your process data, and that's the original signal, you will see that it basically, in the cases where the nuclei look very fused, it kind of tried to diffuse them. What really helps, and let's look at a particular example, right? As I told you, your nuclear signal is already pretty good, but so let's look at these two nuclei. Well, let's see. But they become kind of a little bit better separated in the middle, right? So we could try to do it again and play with the coefficients. So what we could do, what do we have here? 3,000. What we could do is we could try to increase the multiplicator on the membrane coefficient. That might help. But this data looks pretty good to me, actually. I'm very sure we will get a good segmentation out of it. Yeah, I wouldn't really process any further, right? Okay, let's see. Well, it does kind of clean it up. Alrighty. So now we have a segmentation frame, which is frame number 3, and we want to use channel 1 of the segmentation frame as the image to create the nuclear outlines. So let's look at your average nucleus here. The radius of this nucleus is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 pixels, right? Yeah. So now let's start Codex software. We'll go to, well, the only thing we need to create channel name file. So we'll go new text document. We'll create a file, channel names. It has to have this exact name, and we'll look into your email somewhere here. Let's find your email. Here we go. Perfect. These are your channels. Alrighty. That's actually weird. I don't think this is right, because I think your city 45 is in channel. Well, it doesn't matter. You'll figure it out, but I think your city 45, maybe it's either you have all the B cells, maybe what I thought is your city 45 is your city 20. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Just for the sake of example, let's keep it as a channel file. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe what I thought is city 45 city 20, but that's how city 45 should look like. That's what we'll use as a membrane channel in this particular case. So let's launch Codex software. Codex Toolkit. After you install the software that you download from GitHub, you will basically have a subset of programs. You should use Codex segmexe for a particular purpose that we're investigating today. It will ask us to select the directory. We'll go desktop, formark. Great. Okay. Various parameters. Again, kind of don't have much time to go deep into this, but our average radius is 6. Minimal cutoff. You should give a percentage of 65,000 to use as a minimal cutoff. You're in the plane that we'll be using for segmentation, which is, let's open it. I'll open recent. So let's look at the histogram of the plane that we'll be using for segmentation. Remember, it's frame number 3, channel 1. So let's see. I'd say we could safely use maybe 600 as a lower cutoff. In other words, 100th is basically 1%. Minimal cutoff. And this we do in order not to search for maximum of nuclear signal in the blank space. Maximum cutoff, let's put 1. You don't have any artificial highly saturated specs that should be removed. Relative cutoff, it means how wide you would like your cells to be. Maybe later, if you need further explanation, I could explain you how it works. Let's try 0.1. Looks good. Cell size cutoff, let's put 0.3. What if you have a small cell which is less than 6 pixels, so that not to discard it? Nuclear stain channel will be 1. Nuclear stain cycle, that's exactly where you want to say that you want to use third frame. And we are not using membrane channel here, and we will not be using anisotropic region growth parameter. It doesn't work yet. Okay, all good. I'll close it just in case so that it doesn't open twice in 2 different programs. Start. It's done. So pretty much done, yeah. So let's see how the segmentation looks. Curious myself. It's not too bad, I must say. Not too bad, right? Look at this. Now let's compare the segmentation to your membrane signal, right? Well, it did miss here and there, but basically it's a good start. So, image overlay, hide overlay, right? So let's look at your nuclear signal, right? Again, image. So your segmentation overlay is basically your, it's an overlay. It's not an image in the stack. So you want either to hide overlay or to show overlay to overlay it. It looks pretty good. In some cases, as you can see, and that's where 3D segmentation really helps. It interpreted two cells as one. That will happen here and there. In some cases, it didn't split, right? Such as here. What might help is that if we decrease the radius, the characteristic nuclear radius, that might help to create smaller objects. But believe me, this will actually give you a pretty good data already. And let's look at your nuclear signal here, right? Or maybe let's look at it in the third frame right here. I would say it under-segmented, definitely. Let's try to give it a smaller radius. So what I will do, here we have a config.txt where it writes down the parameters. So what I will do, in your case, I will actually create a couple of folders where I will copy your data. I'll call it try1, right? And we'll create try2, try3, and just in case try4, so that we could select the optimal parameters for the segmentation. Try2, and try3 and try4. So let's relaunch segmentation and point it to the folders try2 and reduce the nuclear radius. I think that'll help. You will see for yourself. So, well, as a matter of fact, you know what? We could actually just redo the segmentation. Oh no. So let's go into Codex Toolkit, SegMexam. Let's go to here. Let's go into try2, and it will basically read the parameters from the config.txt file. So let's reduce the radius to maybe 4. No, maybe 5. Actually, it's a pretty big leap. Trust me on that. And yep, that looks good. Pretty much done. It creates data with the compensation of lateral bleed, and where it does some linear algebra on all of your cells in the frame. So this step takes a little time. But actually, it is done. Let's take a look at this. Yep, done. Alrighty, try2. Let's open it. So still a bit of under segmentation. Let's see. Well, it's a good start. Let's do try 3, where we will say, so you definitely have some objects. It did a pretty good job here, and it does retain some of the objects under segmented. Again and again, if you require 3-dimensional stack rather than a single plane, this would really be resolved, because your plane is somewhat, your CD45 or whatever, CD20 signal looks a little bit fuzzy, but just for the sake of curiosity, let's do try 3. I think, oh, here we go. So, so we did 6, we did 5, and now let's do 4. And, you know, maybe we should increase a little bit relative cutoff, but 4 is a good one. We should really go lower than that. Okay, let's start. Okay, here we go. You see the number of cells went up from 4,000 to 6,000. That's a good sign. That's good. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, that looks actually a little better, in my opinion. So, using this empirical fiddling with parameters, you should find an optimal spot for your segmentation. Your segmentation will be never 99 or 100% ideal. Usually 80 or 90%, 85% of your cell segmented is a very good achievement, which will, if you have enough planes, will produce you your good quantitative data. And well, that is pretty much all I wanted to show you. Let's again look at the nuclear signal here in frame 3 and in channel 1, right? Let's do the grayscale. This. Let's take a look at this. Well, not too bad. Look at these guys, right? Well, that's how Codex software works. Here, obviously, we have a very good segmentation where cells sparse. Here, pretty good, a little worse. You could also try to create additional frames where you could play with how do you perform the subtraction of membrane from the nuclear signal. That may also create a huge difference. As a matter of fact, we could try it right now if you want. So for example, I'll copy this file. I'll put it here. Well, you know what? We could probably do it in try 4. Yeah, let's go into image cranking, launch image cranking, select try 4. So here's what we want to do. We want to give
a membrane channel with bigger weight, right? Multiply it here, your nuclear channel by 10. Let's multiply it by 5. And let's apply scaling so that your negative values are not converted into 0, but rather scaled accordingly. Yeah, let's see how that looks. All right, it's done. Let's look at, at how your channel frame number 4 will look like. Okay, here we go, frame number 4. And I will remove the overlay because it will be removed. It will be overwritten anyway. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Color, grayscale. All right. Well, I don't see that it is any better. But, oh, sorry. Oh, that's right. So let's look at this versus that. Your nuclear are a little bit more even. All right, so now your threshold, right? So actually, you can make your segmentator see this like that, right? So just to give an idea, let's draw a straight line through here, and let's analyze and plot profile. And let's make it, that's your first cell, that's your second cell, that's your third cell, just to demonstrate you the performance of the subtraction algorithm. So if we are in the original nuclear signal, it looks like this, right? If we are in the frame 3, it will look like this. And in the frame 4, it will look like this, a little bit better and smoother. Well, we could try to run a segmentation based on this frame as well. Okay, so that's basically the algorithm. You should find an optimal parameters to create your segmentation frame, and then optimal parameters to do your segmentation. And indeed, as seen here, subtracting membrane signal definitely helps. But again, segmentation is never optimal. That I can assure you. So, but just for the sake of the argument, let's see. So here the cutoff should be, I would say, around, maybe we should cut maybe around 1500. Yeah, maybe around 2000, something like this. Which 2000's 1/30th is 3% of 65,000. Alrighty, so let's restart CodeXsegm. Let's select try 4. I would say let's keep radius 4, your minimal cut of 0.3. I'll also maybe increase a little bit the relative cutoff. And our nuclear stain cycle will be 4 because we're using additional different frame, right? Okay, here we go. And our goal, I guess, is to increase the number of cells from 6,000 to maybe 7,000. Weird. This is weird. I don't think it found any cells for some reason. Hold on, let's take a look at this. Try 4. Frame 4. Oh, sorry. So your data fits between 0 and 12,000. A little weird. Nuclear stain cycle 4, nuclear stain channel 1. All good here. Relative cutoff 0.1. Okay, let's try to redo it. Still no cells. Okay, let's do minimal cutoff 0.01. 600. Start. What gives you again 6? Oh, gee, 0. Yeah, sorry, I should have done 0.03. I literally made the cutoff at 20,000. So, yeah, that was a mistake. Well, let's take a look at this. Okay. That's your data. And it's still... I try not to open the file before it computed the expression values. And the expression values are usually in this 2 files, compensated and uncompensated data. Could probably open it because so it rewrites the file with the new overlay. I did it at 11:08, which is good. Probably can probably open it. All right, so let's take a look at this. Okay, here we go. Selecting the gray color for the first channel, and okay. Well, there is a place for improvement, space for improvement, but it does its job. All right, well, that's how it is. Hope that helps, and you can convert this data. I actually think that the the Tri-3 was somewhat better, right? Okay, so what we can do is that we can convert it into an FCS file and stick into flow software to see the biaxial distributions of your signal. Or you could just do it in R, or as a matter of fact, you could do it in Excel as well. For the sake of curiosity, let's also try to segment based on division of nuclear signal by membrane signal, because so far we have segmented based on subtraction of membrane signal by nuclear. Let's see how it looks. So we will go into, again, Codex Segm. We'll select this additional Tri-5 folder. And we will, my program puts subtraction of membrane from nuclear into first two channels of frame 3 or 4, and division of nuclear bimembrane into channel 3 and 4. So we'll say that we want nuclear stain cycle 3, nuclear stain channel will go 3, right? And that's going to be the minimal cutoff, just to get an idea of how it looks like. Oh gee, hold on. So the way it looks is in frame 3. I'm hiding the old overlay. Frame 3, channel 3. Our minimal signal is about 3000, and if we select minimum cutoff of 0.01, that was 1%, 60,000 divided by 100, 600, it's going to look approximately like this, which is well reasonable. Maybe, maybe we should go 0.05. Let's see. So in order to see this small nuclei, right, which apparently the tip of nuclear in the upper plane. So let's see if we go to 300. It's still visible. All right. So let's put here 0.05. Relative cutoff will make it low because, well, maybe I'll explain sometime later. Radius 4. Well, maximum cutoff 1. That looks reasonable to me. Let's start. Okay. Actually, about the same number of cells. Perfect. Well, let's take a look at this. This is the result. Let's take a look at the file. Okay. So does it look a little better than so let's compare it perhaps with Tri-4. Let's go ahead and make grayscale. Let's go into frame 3. Right. Looks pretty good to me. Well, to make a fair comparison, maybe what we should do is to compare it side by side with segmentation based on subtraction of membrane from nuclear. Right? So if I were to do that, I would probably have to flatten this image. We could just open the try4. Maybe even, let's look at try4, radius 4. Try3 would be proper comparison because they use the same frame 3 and basically all the same parameters. I'm just thinking how to best. So there's this nifty trick. Where we could channel 1, that's right, where we could make a selection in 1 and have it in exactly the same spot as selection in 2. So let's this area looks actually pretty good, right? So let's find area which doesn't look as good. Perhaps well, here's under segmented cell right here, and well, let's take this area. So we will make a selection, and we'll go here, and we will go edit image, edit selection. There is this restore selection. Here we go. That's the area, and we will zoom in exactly the same area, but done by using the subtraction, right? All right, so now let's display it as a grayscale, and let's also be in the third frame. Well, it looks pretty similar to me here. I would say they look roughly the same. The subtraction-based segmentation splits this nuclear dimer into 2. I would say that they look roughly the same. Actually, right here, again, subtraction-based segmentation does a better job on splitting these 2 nuclei. I would probably go with subtraction-based segmentation. Yeah. Alrighty, so now you saw how to select the best combination of parameters for creating a segmentation frame and to do eventually the segmentation. That's what Codex software does. I know that there are now in development and maybe already available various segmentation approaches based on neural networks, but I'm not fluent with them, and that's what we're ready to provide for Mark. And if you have more questions, let me know. I'm happy to help you. Well, that's about it.